The destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
What's going on, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to another episode of Host Highlights. Today, I'm joined by not one host, but two, the hosts of the political beat on AfterBuzz TV, Drexel and Chelsea.
Hello.
And they're matching today and didn't even tell me what to wear. How are you going to leave me out of the loop like that?
I was going to text Chelsea right before I got into the studio and to tell her what I was wearing, and I didn't even have to do that.
We did it telepathically.
See, you guys are such good co-hosts that you're on the same wave automatically.
2018, got to be on the same
yes,
wave. Got to be on the blue wave.
Apparently.
Ah.
So you guys both have a background in law and politics. Chelsea, you're a lawyer among other things. In Drexel, you work in politics. You're a delegate, the 39th district delegate of the California Democratic Party.
That is right.
Did I get like? Am I?
You did get it right. You did get it right. You did get it right. Everybody who's watched the 2016 election has kind of understood at least the basics of like going to like the convention and somebody going to the convention. Well, in this case, every state party has the same structure, and so I'm one of the people that goes to our party's convention here in California.
How many of those do we have?
We have a lot because California's huge.
Yeah.
And we actually have the biggest delegation going to the big national convention as well when the presidential nominees get nominated. So, but I represent the district here in California that will at least next month will nominate the next governor.
Oh, wow.
Of California. So,
okay.
Or the potentially next governor of California.
I think hopefully we interviewed him.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think we do have another gubernatorial candidate coming on the show soon, so we will see. But it is definitely between the two people that will come on this show.
Yeah.
Wait,
that's amazing. So, I mean, I feel like, thank God we have a show like Political Beat, because a lot of this is, I mean, some of it's foreign to me. I'm sure a lot of it's foreign to a lot of viewers. So what made you come up with this show? Like, what importance does it serve?
Exactly that. Exactly that. I mean, I want to make politics, I don't know how cool we can make it, but relevant enough to people's life where they want to find out more. And some of this stuff intimidated me about politics. And I know that if I'm a lawyer and I'm intimidated by some of this stuff and how it all works, I know that other people are. So when I got into politics, I really wanted to learn it on a basic level enough to be able to explain it to people and then incorporate what's going on now into sort of making it interesting. I mean, it's easy to do that, right? Because of the shit show that we've got going on. And so it makes it really fun to talk about and to engage people in a conversation about. So you are exactly why we exist.
Well, so I noticed that in the description of the show you mentioned the word millennial. So why is this a political millennial podcast?
That's a good question. When this show started, it's gone through several different incarnations over the past couple of years, and we really wanted to focus, once we started seeing what was happening in the 2016 election and all of the excitement that people were, at least our age bracket, were having, at least getting in through the Democratic primary, and then once we get the dumpster fire from the actual election happening, more millennials started getting engaged. However, millennials don't, at least from what we saw, millennials think they know a lot, but they don't understand.
I'm glad you said that and not me.
Okay, explain.
But I think there needs to be a Schoolhouse Rock level of understanding in politics right now. For us
we didn't get taught this in school.
Right.
I mean, did you have a civics class? I mean, mine was
I was
gone.
I was in AP government, so I definitely had a civics class. But
that's a rarity.
Yeah. But that's where we are right now. And
I did AP American. I still didn't know how all this stuff worked.
Yeah.
So I don't think like most people, we get any good lessons in school about it, and we're supposed to just like watch TV and know what's going on and know who to vote for and how it all works. I mean.
So I think to your question, first of all, you got two millennials on the show that are hosting this show, but that's not the qualifier, because I think the qualifier is that we talk about issues that are important to millennials. So, for example, we come back on Tuesday the 9th. Tuesday the 9th, 2 days, yeah. And, we're going to be talking about California laws that are surrounding marijuana, because that's something that is not only a millennial issue, but it is a bigger issue of things that are happening across the country. So, but we want people to understand how it's going to affect them, how laws will dictate their future, and why it's important for millennials to pay attention, because millennials are the future of the country, and the only way for us to take back the country that we think we want is for us to understand how to do that and why those things are important.
I don't think people realize millennials are like bigger than the baby boomers as like a size, but we're not politically engaged. And so if we were, I mean, we started to get out there, but when you look at who shows up to vote, it isn't millennials. And so if we can get millennials to show up and vote, we can totally rock this country, because in terms of numbers, we own it. And so it's just about us being informed enough and confident enough in what we believe in and standing up for what we believe in that will come in and make a difference.
And I just want to clarify the point about millennials think they know more. It's less about thinking that they know more. It's more about feeling comfortable in being able to explain things or be able to kind of have their voice heard, because people don't get engaged, to Chelsea's point, because they feel like they don't understand enough.
It's
and I think
so
if you
overwhelming.
and I think if you just know, how's a law made, why is the delegate process the way that it is, why is it that the Supreme Court is on this limited schedule sometimes, what are those laws going to be like, and how can you get involved? Those are the things that we're talking about on our show that are going to be super important going into 2018, 2020, 2024, and every time this one wants to get engaged. We just partnered with a group called Run for Something last year, which is engaging millennials and recruiting millennials to run for something across the country. And to date, and I know we're going to talk about it on our show on Tuesday, out of the 435 congressional seats that are up for election this year, that's every seat in Congress, there are only 17 seats left that Democrats are not competitive in. And that's thanks to organizations like Run for Something. And most of those are millennial candidates. So that's the kind of position that we're in, to kind of say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And a lot of those Run for Something candidates are coming on our show.
Really? Okay. So as millennials, we have access to so many things that people before us obviously didn't, with the internet and things like that now. And I feel like with the administration now, it's just kind of a push for us to get more involved and understand more. However, with Facebook and things like that, there's a lot more junk out there than there is treasure, How do you guys separate yourself from the vast media about this type of stuff? Like, what makes you different?
We are certainly opinionated, but we're grounded in telling people like how things work. And then on top of that, we'll build our opinion on it, because we want people to have their own foundation, their own understanding of how things work, historically how they work, and how the systems are all put together. And then we'll put our opinions on sort of as like the icing on the cake. But other shows, it's like, it's all icing. It's all opinion. It's nothing based in, fact or history or anything that allows the viewer to create a platform sort of their own. And we also do something that I love that's a little different, is that most shows out there, it's either all politically the left or all politically the right, and it's very extreme. I haven't seen any other show out there like ours where we are both on the left. We're both Democrats. But I'm a little lefter. I should be sitting on that side.
I know.
And he's a little righter of the left.
Yes.
And so we kind of demonstrate the views of both the Democrats, but from different perspectives within the party.
Okay. I respect that. It's really important, because I think it's very easy for people to push their bias, and as a viewer sometimes you don't even realize that they're so biased one way or another. But seeing as, you're both Democrats but a little bit different, do you have a lot of difference of opinions on the show? Are you ever kind of pinned against each other?
That's a good question. Sometimes we are. Sometimes actually we fight more off the camera than we do on the camera. Usually I'm texting her. Did you see this article?
I was
right.
He's usually talking shit about Bernie, and that's like the most sensitive subject that we have.
I do it to push her buttons, and it's a lot of fun. But I think that there are different approaches. We have different. One of the things that I always tell people when you talk politics is, people always say, oh, I don't like to talk politics, I don't like to talk religion. Well, there's a way to do that. And there's a way of going into that conversation and saying, I'm not here to change your opinion. I am here to lay out my case and lay out certain facts, and you can take that for what it is. And if you change your opinion somehow in that conversation, you can do that. Chelsea and I certainly don't try to push each other in a direction, because I think at this point in our lives, we've kind of established where we are. However, we respect each other's opinions enough to go, okay, well, how do we get past that? And
Yes,
and
that's the thing.
and so I think when it comes down to kind of having those conversations, that's super important to us. Is, like I said, not only to we don't try to change these other opinions, we certainly don't try to change the opinions of our viewers.
I'm always curious as to how Drexel looks at an issue. And so when I see something or he finds something, you know, this is probably why we dress alike, is because we're always thinking about I see something and I want send this to Drexel. Have you seen this? What do you think? Because I want to know where his thoughts are on, because he, you know, is pretty representative of, you know, moderate Democrats and where I am to the left. And I'm looking to see how is it that we can kind of reconcile sort of his position and my position. And so I kind of ask questions to really understand that position and see, well, maybe I can phrase my position in a way that sounds more like his. And so we're getting on the same page. So it's really about being able to talk to each other so that we understand each other, rather than speaking at each other to, you got to see it my way, or he's trying to make me see it his way. I'm really trying to look for where are we, you know, the common ground, because even within the Democratic Party, there's kind of, you know, this rift, and it's going to be people like Drexel and I who kind of help bring us together and see where are we similar and where can we sort of smooth over the differences.
And I think that's to Chelsea's point. That's something that, like, I think viewers who have never watched our show before, who are or Democrats out there who are like, how can we get through 2018 together and a little bit unified? And I think, like I said, like Chelsea said, it starts with conversations like Chelsea and ours, and whether, you know, we might have stark differences on who the nominee is going to be or what kind of Democrat represents the Democratic Party. But at the end of the day, we recognize that the greater good of America will come with us working a little bit better together, and you'll see that a lot on the show.
Yeah, right. That's a good dynamic to have, because I think that's the reality for most people. In pretty much every relationship they have now, someone feels a way about something that's going on in the world, and it's so easy to just attack each other for it rather than trying to come to an understanding.
I mean, at some point, some people get so dumb that you, like, just give up. But if you can engage somebody who has, like, an intelligent thought behind their, or intelligent reasoning behind their thought, then you can engage on that. I mean, we have plenty of instances on another show that we do on the Trumpet Port, where people are live chatting us the most ridiculous comments, and at some point you just don't engage because it's not going to help move us anywhere. I mean, it's entertaining, but, you know, if we can all just find somebody that we trust and respect and talk to them, with them, instead of at them. I mean, although the talking at people does get kind of, you know, fun for TV, but, you know, we can't do that all day long.
We don't do a lot of yelling. We don't yell on the show at all, which a lot of a lot of shows do that. If you watch CNN, you watch MSN, anytime they have a panel, it is like they are just yelling and like
who can suck up the most oxygen.
But the other part of our show that I think is also very important is that Chelsea and I don't try to use what I like to call SAT words to convey a message, because I don't think that is going to go over people's heads 100% if we're talking about something that they are truly trying to understand. So you get a lot of these people who will type these long passages on Facebook, and they think that, you know, these long essays, and you're like, well, why are you using every big word that you found in the English dictionary to come up to try to prove your point, when you could just kind of lay it out plain and simple? And that's what we want people to. We want people to come to our show and say, oh, okay, I guess I can understand that in the simplest way.
There's enough people that think that I'm smart just because I'm a lawyer. I don't have to prove I'm smart. Drexel doesn't have to prove it's smart. So we will just talk like, you know, regular people. Yeah. And also, there's lots of things that I don't know about that Drexel does. And on the show, I won't have any shame in asking Drexel, can you explain that? Like, what does that mean? I don't really get it. Because I know that there are plenty of people who also don't understand, and they're afraid to say that they don't know how something works. I guess I have no shame.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, you know, our dynamic is so different. Like, Chelsea's so passionate about certain issues, and, you know, that's the great thing about this show, is that she brings the passion to the show on issues where I can kind of go, okay, well, let's look at it from the political lens of it. And it gives me the opportunity to say, let me put the political piece of it, and then let Chelsea kind of bring in that passionate feel to it that I think a lot of viewers want, and you know, it works for us, and I'm sure people want to know what my opinion is.
He has studied this stuff. He knows. I mean, he's been on both sides of the aisle. I mean, something that we don't talk about that much is that Drexel used to be a Republican.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know. It was a dark time. But you know, I think, you know, back when I was a registered Republican, it was a very different time. I come from a military family, and so national security at the time was a heightened thing. 2001, 2000, 2004, and then 2005, and then about 2006, I actually registered as a Democrat because Barack Obama had come into the fold. So,
I mean, but so he's been living and breathing this stuff his whole life.
Right.
And I'm a relative newcomer to the scene. I wasn't into politics at all until 2014 when somebody that I respect became a candidate for a congressional office. And then I got into it and I dove in head first, so much so that in 2016, I think my first time ever going to Washington, D.C., I participated in a week-long of marches and got myself arrested on the Capitol.
see, that's the passion that I'm talking about. She will go to DC and get arrested. Me, I'll be like, how do I get out of this? What's the
Way to dive
political-
in,
What's the
Chelsea.
political way to get out of this?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a lot of people can relate to that, especially now.
Right.
And outside of the political beat, you guys also do the Trump report.
Right.
How does that differ?
So, our show, like I said, is rooted in educational, like, the purpose of our show is to educate people enough to be able to go back home and have that conversation with their friends in a way that everybody can understand. The Trump Report takes hot button issues or topics of the week, and it's a big panel show, big opinionated panel show. Christian's a really great host. He kind of,
He's
you know,
so
leads
funny.
myself, Chelsea, and Brooke and Scott Moore, and we're able to kind of talk freely. We're not there to, on the Trump Report, to necessarily educate people, but to give our opinions
It's a
on
much more lighthearted
Yeah.
show, and I love that it's interactive. I mean, we are reading the comments as they come in, and we are, you know, interacting with
Right.
them and answering questions and arguing with people. And our show is more focused on, feels a little newsier with our opinion, but also interviews of, you know, candidates and current office holders.
Right.
So when you're on the Trump report and you are interacting with these people, what is the dynamic like? Like, are there trolls? Are they positive? How is it? And how do you deal with
I
that?
have been really, really pleasantly surprised that even like the pro-Trumpers, they have been with us for like a year
Since
plus
it was Trump
now.
versus Hillary.
Really?
Yeah, it was. They've
And
been Trump.
They offer
Fans forever.
generally, you know, thoughtful, meaningful responses, questions, commentary. It isn't as mean-spirited as I thought it would be, because like I used to be like, I like that it's interactive, but I'm going to stay away from the comments because I just don't want to go there. But, you know, even the guy who called me a communist, he and I now see eye to eye more times than you would
It's a plot twist for
be
sure.
under.
And I know Chelsea and Brooke have, you know, they have their fans on the show as well, the ones that just really love them because, you know, I mean,
Why wouldn't
they're
ya?
just great. And I think that, to Chelsea's point about the Trump fan, like, even though we're Democrats, we actually get more pushback from the Democrats in the comment sections
Really?
than the Republicans in the comment sections because we're so different on the opposite sides when we talk on the Trump Report and on Political Beat, because those viewers overlap a little bit because we're back to back on Tuesday nights. And but I mean, I love it. They're great. And I know somebody made a comment during the Trump Report during our Thanksgiving episode. I think it was our and actually said, you know, I'm really thankful that I got a chance to start with this show and start with you guys and like learn from you guys. And so that's really what we get from those viewers that are in the chat rooms. Like, I wish we could do that on the Political Beat where we could have, you know, like, I'm in the chat room sometimes live, but there's a lot going on
Right.
with interviews and stuff like that that's a little harder to kind of focus on that. So maybe this year we will certainly bring that interactive piece to Political Beat a little more to get people kind of more engaged in the show.
I mean, 'cause I don't mind being challenged. I really like people to ask me or say something, as long as they do it respectfully. And you know, some people are actually able to. I would say that I don't know. I'm going to venture to say that the the trolls are actually the bots. They're that more
Right.
live human beings are pretty respectful.
Yeah.
And that when I get challenged and I have to go home and think about something, I get clearer on my values and what I believe in, and I just, it's so much, so rich for me as a learning experience, just as much as I want it to be a learning experience for the audience.
Yeah, like, do you feel like they educate you on things or teach you things that you otherwise wouldn't have known?
Yeah.
Because they'll call us out, or they'll add other details to the conversation that I didn't know about. And,
Right.
so all the time I feel smarter because the audience is there to add to it. And I don't mind being told that I was wrong or mistaken or sort of supplemented in my historical facts and figures. We have somebody, Scott, who's great on the show. I mean,
he's
I
our
think
statistics.
it's like he's been
he's our
alive since
guru.
the inception of this country, and he
Really?
was there, and he knows everything.
Yeah, he's our history buff. And I think the other great thing is that there's a lot of people that are from other parts of the country that watch our show as well. Chelsea's from California. I'm a military kid from different places, mostly the East Coast though, but I've never really lived in the Midwest. I know we have a lot of viewers that live in the Midwest. We also have a lot of international viewers that watch the show, that follow us on Twitter, that interact with us on Twitter too. So they are feeding what they see those issues, how they believe those issues, and it gives us an opportunity to say, oh, I would have never thought of it like that, because we did not live in an area where that affected us like that.
Right.
Where the economy was so bad that that it affected our entire family. Like we live in this California bubble, and so we don't necessarily see everything all the time. Even though California is the beacon of progress and progressivism.
Yeah, it's a word.
And a lot on the East Coast as well. We don't get a lot of the, there's a reason why Donald Trump won in areas that we just had no clue. Because we just did not understand certain things, certain economic things that were happening, and we just did not see that. And I think in those viewers, that is appreciated to kind of understand, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Or I see it. I might disagree with the approach to it, obviously might disagree with the ways that we can work that out, but I understand where you're coming from.
Right. It's valuable to have another perspective,
Right.
because I always think, like, I always lived on the east or the west, and you kind of forget about all the people in the middle that made this reality happen.
Right.
And
There's
it was
a reason
for a
why
reason.
they're called flyover states.
Yeah.
'Cause nobody pays attention enough, and I think we saw that in what happened in this last election, and I think more people are going to start paying attention.
Right. So
We'll find out shortly.
outside of this political world, you guys do other things.
Yeah.
We do?
So, Chelsea, you're into Financially Fit.
Yeah,
So tell me what that is.
I run a nonprofit that teaches people how to take care of their money. My
Okay.
mom is somebody with a big finance background, and she has an incredible story, and she wanted to be able to teach people how to take care of their money, but she's sort of like a money numbers nerd, and hardly anybody wants to listen to that. And so I sort of have this weird desire to speak, like to groups. I guess this is why it makes us a host.
Yeah.
To say, all right, I see what you're saying, this thing about money. Can we make it more complicated and simple and, I don't know, lighthearted and funny enough so that people want to learn about it just the same way that I want to teach people about politics, so that they can use it in their lives, because so many of us struggle with money. Money and the economy is the number one issue that we use when we go to vote. And a lot of our money problems we think are due to the economy, to politicians. A lot of it is due to our own ignorance. Again, like politics, it's not our fault. Most of us were not taught.
Right.
I didn't take a money course
I
in
didn't
high
either.
school. I don't know anybody that did. So I really enjoy teaching people about money, because it's more than just about money. It's really about how we feel about our own self-worth, about how we see, I extrapolate so much with how we see money. Same with politics. And then where they collide, money and politics. I could probably go off on a whole long thing.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's my number one sort of passion in politics, is about the role of money in politics. So sort of all these things work together.
When we were doing parallelograms in school, we probably should have been learning how to balance
I
a
know.
checkbook.
It's kind of like all these things you learn and you forget because, you know, no offense, but half of it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's
Right.
kind of scary. But did you ever want to be a teacher? I feel like on a level you're
She'd be a great teacher.
Yeah.
That's so funny because I always felt like I was supposed to be a teacher, but I could never be in a classroom. I
So
would
you found
be
another way.
the worst.
No, you'd be great. I'd audit. I'd audit the class.
I mean, if I had
I'd
to
throw
if
things at you.
If I
But I'd
know you
audit.
would. If I had to stick to somebody else's curriculum telling me what to teach and how to teach it, and it was boring, no, I can't do that.
You just need tenure at a university, and then nobody can tell you anything.
Oh, I got tenure right here at AfterBuzz.
That's right. We're
Nobody
gonna
can
start
tell me anything.
True.
AfterBuzz U.
I feel like
With
this is kind of the
Chelsea.
start
We're
of
starting
it.
it.
You know, like you guys are teaching politics essentially, so
Yeah.
So how can people be educated through Financially Fit? Give us a little plug.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you are in the LA area, I've got a program coming up. It's a 3-month-long program. You can go to financiallyfitfoundation.org to check it out. It's called the Financially Fit Makeover, and it's a 3-month program where I help people get their financial together.
She helped me, man.
Yeah, and it's oddly satisfying. It's really fun. It's kind of an intimate, personal thing that you get to help people with. So I do that. I'm also working on a book and online courses for people that can't get to LA. But if anybody's in and around LA and can get to that, I mean, we're having it such a low cost. It is a nonprofit, but we still want people to have skin in the game. So it's really available to anybody willing to learn.
All right, well, we can check it out. And
Absolutely.
Drexel, aside from here at AfterBuzz and
I do nothing.
your very long-winded title outside of AfterBuzz, I know that you've worked on campaigns before, and I read that you have a role in Broadway somehow.
No, so I actually have a day job outside of everything, and I actually manage special events for a large company, and so when I was in New York, I was overseeing a lot of events out of New York, and then I came to Los Angeles, and so I still kind of expanded that role here in Los Angeles. So I love doing special events. I love kind of putting together charity benefit concerts, and you know, tonight are the Golden Globes, or as we're taping, it's the Golden Globes, and I've got an event coming up with Issa Rae, who's just nominated for a Golden Globe, and so there are a lot of opportunities here, and I think that is, at least I like to think, another thing that connects me outside of politics, because a lot of people who watch, you know, if you're watching CNN or you're watching MSNBC, those people their jobs are the news, so they're not necessarily connected to what's happening, whether or not, you know, if you're looking at your paycheck every week, or if you're looking at, you know, how much your 401k is coming out of that paycheck, and you're not necessarily doing that, or you're not working 9 to 5. And so I work a 9 to 5 job, and then I come to the studio and we shoot the show, and like, I love that part of it, because I know that a lot of the viewers are going through the same thing, and I think that, you know, that's the only way to do it.
We are one of the people.
Yeah,
basically
well, that's what makes
what
it's
you're
important to be relatable, I think. But is it hard to have like one foot in the entertainment business and another in like the political world? Or is it easy to balance?
I do think that there is it is a challenge to balance. Last year, you know, I started 2017, and I said I was not going to get involved as much. I was like, I'm going into 2017. I'm going to cut back on everything I was involved in, and not even a month later, it like blew up, and I was on the boards of things, and I just gotten elected in January of that year, in January, and then I ended up going to convention, and it just kind of snowballed. So I do think that it if you know, I always tell people, if you hustle, you can do it. If you want to sit at home and you want to just kind of chill out, this is not the world. The entertainment world is not the
kidding.
world for you. because you have to get out there every day. You have to do, and people, who don't live in, who look at the entertainers or who look at celebrities and like, oh, that's not hard work. It is hard work. Seth Meyers said it tonight on the Golden Globes, where he said there are other people in the industry that are really important: the camera operators, the sound people, the engineers, all those people here at AfterBuzz that are doing a lot more work than Chelsea and I are on the other side. And so, those are the hustlers, and so you will not be able to make it in this economy if you don't hustle. And I know a lot of families can't do that because they also have to support their family at the same time and kind of take care of them on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And but I think that millennials, for the most part, understand that you have to have your hands in multiple things, almost in order to survive.
Yeah. You have like You have a hustle, a side hustle, and a side hustle to your side hustle.
Right.
I always say.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me. So, Political Beat is Tuesdays at
6 o'clock.
6, and then the Trumpet Port follows right after.
7 p.m. right on after.
All right. Well, you guys know where to find them. AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Olivia Gabaree. You can find me at @thereal_O_G. And where can they find you guys?
I'm at Chelsea Galicia.
And I'm at Drexel Heard.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
We're getting a new tag this year.